Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Parsha Minute, coming to you live from the Torch Center, together with our dear friends here at the Talmud Lunch and Learn, where we get together every Friday at 12 p.m. We're going to decide after class whether or not we're going to continue at 12 or move it later because we're changing the clock this week. But either way, let's share a quick Dvar Torah on this week's Parsha, Parsha's Tetzaveh. Just a quick reminder that Sunday is Purim. There are 4 commandments that we're obligated to fulfill on Purim, added to the regular commandments of like tefillin and all the others. We add 4 special mitzvahs for this day of Purim on Sunday. Number 1 is to give charity to the poor. Poor is defined by someone who does not have money for food. Okay? They don't have money, they don't have extra money in their bank accounts. If you can find someone who is really poor, it's a mitzvah to give them charity on this day. If you don't have someone, I recommend that you speak to a congregational rabbi or myself after class, and I'll be happy to help you with that. That's the first mitzvah. The other is to give a gift basket to a friend, all right, not a stranger, but ish l're'ehu, to your friend of 2 items. All right, so it could be something of mizonot, a pastry and a drink, or a fruit and a bread and a little bread, whatever it is. You can give two items. It's a mitzvah to do that as well, so that there's more love and friendship between Jewish people. There's another mitzvah to hear the Megillah, and then there's another 4th mitzvah to have a feast. Okay, have a meal. So even if it's just a bagel, my meal on Purim, because by the time I have my meal and am completely, it's probably not ideal for Facebook, but intoxicated. So I don't end up benching. So what I started doing several years ago is I have the meal in the morning, I eat properly, I have a full meal, and then I bench properly. And later on, at least for myself, for everybody else, they can wash and bench. They wash for bread and then they bench after. They give the grace after meals after. They say the grace after meals after. But because I'm usually not at the right state of mind, I don't typically do that.
They're having a big all-you-can-eat barbecue at Genesis.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
At 5 o'clock.
All right, so we are about to say a quick Dvar Torah in this week's Parsha. So it says, Ve'ela begadim asher ya'asu, and these are the garments with which they shall make, in chapter 28, verse number 4. We're not on the sheets yet. So the high priest was compared to an angel, and must have special garments to do his work. And just as an angel is pure, so too the Kohen Gadol needed to perform his duties with absolute purity. Our sages tell us an incredible thing, that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, first was not allowed to be high, but he had to be holy, right? So the high priest had to be at peace with everyone. He was not allowed to be in a quarrel. He's not allowed to be in a fight. And the reason our sages tell us is because the Kohen Gadol represented perfection. People would come up to the temple. They'd come from all over the world to bring an offering. And here they're coming to see the Kohen doing a service in the temple. He had to be with a smile. He had to be in happiness. He couldn't be in a fight thinking about the politics in the synagogue and thinking of this quarrel and that fight and this, that. He had to be in total peace with everyone. He had to have absolute total joy. So, just a very interesting thing about the garments of the Kohen Gadol. The Talmud tells us that just as the sacrifices atoned for sins, so too the priestly vestments, the garments of the Kohen Gadol, also atone for sins. So listen to the following. The breastplate, the choshen, was next to the heart and atoned for sins committed against the commandments connected to the heart. Because there's some commandments you're supposed to feel, right? And if you don't feel them properly, if you don't have the proper intention, so the breastplate atoned for the mitzvahs that were neglected, of mitzvahs of the heart. The ephod is the apron, atoned for idol worship. The outer coat, the me'il, atoned for the sin of slander. The coat, which was worn underneath it, known as the ketonet, atoned for accidental murder. The mitznefet, or hat, atoned for haughtiness. And the avnet, the belt, atoned for evil feelings of the heart. and the tzitz, which said Kodesh Lashem, holy, it was like a signet, it was embossed, right? It said Kodesh Lashem, holy to Hashem. The golden platelet on the high priest's forehead atoned for stubbornness, and the trousers, the mechnasayim, the pants, atoned for lasciviousness. Okay? So our sages ask, why, this is Rabbeinu Bachya, he says, why are only 6 of the garments mentioned in this week's portion? 2 of the garments were not mentioned. So our sages say because 6 of the 8 garments, Moshe was the actual one to put them on the Kohen. He dressed them. He had to help him put them on. But there were 2 that he didn't. One was the pants. See, even the Kohen Gadol had to put on his pants, so one leg at a time, right? And the other was the tzitz, which was considered more of an accessory than a garment. So it wasn't included in this as well. But there's one other point that I want to talk about. And we see that there's atonement for sin by the clothes that we wear. So there's an idea that we've mentioned numerous times, that everything physical has a spiritual counterpart. Everything physical has a spiritual counterpart. We're living here in a physical world. There is a spiritual world that works counter to the physical world that we're living in. So the things that we do physically in this world has a spiritual impact in the world, in the spiritual world. And the physical things that we do that are not so good have a spiritual and negative spiritual impact as well. Every physical thing has a spiritual counterpart, including the garments and the vestments of the Kohen Gadol. Right? It reflected something. There was something that it countered. There's something that balanced it out on a spiritual side. Everything physical has a spiritual counterpart. I think it's very important to constantly remember that our actions, we say, what's it going to harm anyone? It's just me, myself, I'm just watching something, or I'm just saying something, or I'm just thinking something, it's not a big deal. Everything has a spiritual counterpart. And those spiritual forces have tremendous power. So Hashem should bless us all, just like the Kohen was pure and the Kohen was holy. We should always be pure, we should always be holy, because of the physical things that we have around us should be an inspiration to make us holy, and not, God forbid, the opposite of taking us down. So thank you very much, our dear friends, for joining us. We look forward to sharing with you many more words of Torah, and hopefully soon, even later today, a 1 minute, 1 halacha, part 5. Thank you and have a wonderful Shabbos, my friends.